When Strength Awakens Chapter 1, The Silence of Dawn, the house seemed asleep, but there was no peace in that silence. The clock on the wall had stopped at 3 in the morning, as if time itself had given up on moving forward. The cold wind slipped through the cracks of the broken window, swaying the torn curtains and carrying a whisper that echoed through the dark corridors. Clara sat on the edge of her bed, motionless, like a broken statue. Her trembling hands gripped the ripped sheet, and her tearful eyes stared into emptiness. The exhausted face reflected years of pain, and each scar told an untold story. Before the mirror, she saw a woman she no longer recognized. The deep shadows under her eyes, the weary expression, the wounded soulate, all made her question who she had become. In a whisper, she asked, "Who am I now? Who have I allowed them to turn me into?" And in the silence of dawn, a faint inner voice replied, "You still have a choice." Chapter 2, The Girl Who Wanted to Fly. Clara was born in a small town, where the sound of chickens mixed with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee from the neighbors, and where dreams were clipped before they had the chance to bloom. The dirt roads and humble houses held stories of women who were born and died without ever tasting freedom. From childhood, Clara had a different curiosity. She loved to look at the blue sky and imagine what lay beyond the clouds. While other girls played with dolls, she dreamed of studying, traveling, conquering the world. But inside her home, her dreams were treated as rebellion. Her father, a severe man, always repeated, "A woman was born to obey, to marry, and to stay silent." Every word of his was like a hammer striking her wings. At night, hiding in the dark, Clara would secretly read old books she found at school. The faint light of a trembling candle illuminated the pages, and each turned page felt like stolen freedom. One night her mother entered quietly and saw Clara hiding a book under her pillow. Instead of scolding her, she simply placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder and whispered, "Don't give up, my child. I never had the chance, but maybe you will." Those words became a flame inside Clara's heart, a flame that would never die. Chapter 3, The Prince Who Became a Prison in Her Youth. Clara still believed in fairy tales. That was when she met an older man, charming and persuasive, who seemed like the answer to her longing for freedom. He brought gifts, whispered sweet promises, spoke with the confidence of someone who could open doors to a better future. At first he seemed like a prince. He took her out to dinner, gave her flowers, and painted a picture of love and security. Clara believed him, thinking she had finally been truly seen. But little by little, the charm faded. The flowers stopped coming. Sweet words turned into sharp criticism. "You don't know how to dress. You're worthless." Soon came the yelling, then the shoves. Clara began to wither. Her laughter vanished. Her hope withered. Every time she thought of leaving, his voice echoed, "Without me, you are nothing. No one will ever want you." The home that should have been shelter became a dark prison. Chapter 4, The Night of Choice 1, Silent Night. Clara reached rock bottom. After a brutal fight, she was thrown against the wall and collapsed to the floor. She lay there motionless, staring at the ceiling, her body aching, her soul shattered. In the other room, he slept deeply, as if nothing had happened. The silence was suffocating. Clara felt on the edge of giving up on life, but something stirred within her odd decision, sharp and unshakable, like a scream rising from her core. "I will not die here. Tomorrow, I escape. Tomorrow, I am reborn." At dawn, Clara rose quietly. Each step on the wooden floor creaked, each sound threatening to betray her. She grabbed a small backpack. Inside, she placed only a document, a change of clothes, and the old book she had always kept close. Her heart pounded like a war drum in her chest. When she opened the door, the cold wind of dawn brushed against her face. It felt as though the world outside was calling her. She ran. Through the dark streets, she ran without looking back. Every shadow seemed an enemy, every corner a trap, but she didn't stop. She ran because her life depended on it. Chapter 5, Cruel Freedom. She arrived in another city with nothing, no family, no friends, no money. She slept in bus stations on park benches, begged for bread at bakery doors. The freedom she longed for came hand in hand with hunger, cold, and loneliness. But it was different. The pain now came from the world, not from the hands that had imprisoned her, and every freezing night still felt better than the days of captivity. She found work as a cleaner, then as a cook. She spent long hours standing, scrubbing, serving, listening to harsh orders. But when she closed her eyes, she remembered the screams and the blows she had escaped. Then she whispered to herself, "Never again, never again." Small acts of kindness lit her path. An elderly woman gave her a place to sleep for a few nights. A coworker lent her books. Each gesture reignited the flame of hope. Chapter 6, The Awakening of Strength. Determined, Clara decided she would not live merely to survive. She wanted more. She enrolled in evening classes. She worked all day, studied all night. Many laughed at her. They said, "You'll never make it. You're too poor." But every word of scorn was fuel. Years passed, sleepless nights, exhausting days, but Clara didn't stop. Until one day, she earned a scholarship to a university. What had seemed impossible became reality. She graduated with honors, proving to herself that she was not what they had called her. She was who she chose to become. Chapter 7. The voice that echoes. Clara knew her victory couldn't remain hers alone. She decided to turn her story into strength for others. She created a social project, opened support centers, gave speeches. Every woman who listened to her found in her voice a reflection of their own pain, but also proof that it was possible to rise again. Stories of violence transformed into stories of rebirth. Clara became an example, a reference, an inspiration. Chapter 8. The reflection of victory. Years later, Clara stood again before the mirror. But this time, she didn't see a victim. She saw a woman with her head held high, eyes firm, smile soft. She spoke out loud, "I am not what was done to me. I am what I chose to become, and I choose to be free." Clara had won, and her victory was a cry for every woman. You too can rise from the ashes. Your story is not over.